All right, next up, we have Leslie Nobile. She is going to give the Internet Number Resource Status Report.
Okay, oh good, I can see, perfect. Good morning, everyone. So this is the Number Resource Organization Status Report, Internet Number Status Report, and it's basically the allocation and assignment history of the Internet resources in all 5 of the regions in a side-by-side format. And we update this quarterly, so this was just updated a couple of weeks ago, so it's fairly recent data. So this is the total IPv4 address space, the 256/8s. And if you look at the top, I'll start with the green sort of slice. It says not available. 35/8s are in use by the technical community. They are not available for IANA to issue to the RARs because they are in use. If you go left, you look at central registry, there's 91/8s there. The central registry was the pre-RIR space. It was basically space issued under U.S. government contract. They were contracting with several different organizations to issue that space. Most of the growth in the early days of the internet was in the U.S., and so most of those 91/8s were issued within the United States. This is what we call legacy space, the pre-RIR space. If you go down a little further, the RIRs in total have received 130/8s from the IANA, the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. I think some of you heard John explain some of this yesterday. IANA holds the global pool of address space, and they issue /8s to the regional internet registries for the regional pools. So if you look here, APNIC on the left has received 45/8s from the IANA in total. RIPE NCC has received 35, LACNIC has received 9, AFRINIC 5, and ARIN 36. And then you can see in red, IANA Reserved says 0. IANA ran out of their /8 global pool in February of 2011. They have some bits and pieces that were returned to them by the RIRs, but there are no contiguous /8s remaining. So if you look at the available IPv4 space in each of the 5 RIRs, starting on the left, you can see that AFRINIC in gray has got the most remaining space with 1.7/8s, and they're still issuing under their regular policies. In yellow is APNIC, and they are down to 0.59/8s. And both APNIC and RIPE have a policy that allows them to issue. When they hit their last /8, they basically called that depletion, and they instituted a policy that allows them to give a single /22 to each of their customers. Anybody coming in can get one single /22. You'll see ARIN in blue, it says 0. ARIN has no available space in our IPv4 pool. We have a couple of blocks reserved for specific policies, but as far as everyday issuing, ARIN has nothing to give out at this point. LACNIC has 0.93 remaining, and the RIPE NCC has 0.97/8s. This is an unmanageable chart. We're going to work on this. I always say this, but we haven't fixed it yet. But anyway, going back to 1999, this just shows the growth trends of IPv4. The 5 RIRs issuing to their ISP customers. Early on, you can see it was more of the growth before was in the ARIN region, but that switched somewhere around 2002, 2003, and the APNIC region, the real growth was in APNIC region, and that just continued until they hit their last /8 in 2011. This is the IPv4 address space. This is actually the cumulative. It's the same chart from before, but it's that cumulative total from 1999 through 2016. And you'll see that RIPE NCC issued almost 35/8s, ARIN a little over 32, LACNIC a little over 10, AFRINIC a little over 5, and the APNIC registry issued 45/8s in that time period. ASN assignments, this is total ASNs issued by the RIRs to their customers. These are 2-byte ASNs and 4-byte ASNs. And early on, ARIN was issuing most of the ASNs, and that's because all of our customers pretty much are multi-homing, and that's why you would need an ASN. But somewhere around 2005, that trend changed, and the RIPE NCC started issuing more of the ASNs, and they continue to do so today. And in talking with my RIP colleagues, they said that they saw a huge growth trend, a real change in 2005 where more of their end user customers started coming in asking for independent IPv4 space and an autonomous system number, and that has remained in place since, for about 11 years. If you look at the cumulative total of all ASNs issued, ARIN has issued almost 29,000, AFRINIC a little over 1,400, LACNIC almost 6,000, APNIC a little over 12,000, and the RIPE NCC 33,576. So this is a subset. This is the 4-byte ASN assignments. It's a subset of the previous two slides. And what do I want to say about this one? This is kind of interesting. Early on, we were all issuing, we were issuing 4 bytes by choice. We would offer a choice to our customers. Do you want a 4-byte or a 2-byte? But at some point, we realized we were all going to be running out. So APNIC and RIPE and LACNIC all started issuing 4-byte ASNs by default. So if you requested one, if you requested an ASN, you immediately got a 4-byte ASN. And that's why you can see that more of the growth in the 4 bytes in those 3 regions. Recently, within the past year, ARIN and AFRINIC have switched over to issuing 4-byte ASNs by default as well because we are all running out of 2-byte ASNs. So you can see the numbers are evening out quite a bit more. We're all issuing 4 bytes more often than 2 bytes. This is the cumulative total. See what we've all issued. RIPE's issued 6,600, LACNIC 2,800, ARIN 1,800, APNIC 4,000, and AFRINIC 319. This is the chart of the entire IPv6 address pool. It starts with a /0, and a /3 has been carved out of that space for use by the IANA as global unicast space. There's 512 /12s in that /3. A single /12 is being used for miscellaneous purposes. I think there's documentation and some other things that IANA is using that 12 for. But 5 of those /12s were issued to the RIRs in October of 2006. And it's really interesting because we're all still issuing from our original /12. So for about 10 years now, we're still issuing from a single /12, and none of us are actually ready to request additional space. So that pretty much tells you how large a /12 is. If you look at IPv6 allocations from us to our ISP members, most of the growth has been within the RIPE region, as you can see in green, followed by LACNIC, the LACNIC region. Cumulative totals, RIPE has issued a little over 11,000, ARIN almost 3,000, APNIC 3,300, LACNIC a little over 4,000, and AFRINIC 452. These are IPv6 assignments to end user customers. We all sort of had our end user IPv6 end user assignment policies implemented at different times, which sort of explains some of the earlier years where you only see the blue pie chart because ARIN was the first RIR to have an IPv6 assignment policy. But in recent years, you can see that it's really picked up in the RIPE region and continues to be pretty steady in the ARIN region. And these are the cumulative totals: RIPE 2,300, APNIC 1,100, AFRINIC 164, LACNIC a little over 700, and ARIN about 2,200 IPv6 assignments made since the inception of the policy in 2002. This chart looks at the percentage of our members who've actually come in to get IPv6 address space. And this has been a sort of a successful growth trend because we started tracking it about 5 years ago, and the numbers were very, very low. So in the AFRINIC region, about 37% of their ISP members now have IPv6. In the APNIC region, a little over 47%. In the ARIN region, I'm very happy to see we're just about at 50%. So that's a real change in our region. In the RIPE region, 84% of their customers, their ISP customers, have IPv6. And in LACNIC, a little over 75%, actually almost 76%. And this is just the link to RIR statistics. You can see the raw data anywhere here. So that's all I have. Are there any questions? Okay. Can I get the first mic? Hi.
Hi, Trevor Forrest, 876 Solutions. You said in the right regions you were noticing an increase in individual requests. Is there any indication as to what could be driving that?
Maybe we could ask Andrea from the RIPE NCC to answer that question. He's right here.
Hello, Andrea Cino from the RIPE NCC. Let's say that over the years, indeed, we have seen a large increase in requests for AS numbers, and those were going hand in hand with requests for provider-independent address space. So, not member organizations, but other organizations and user organizations. Often they would be like bank or other companies that wanted to be independent from the upstream provider with regards to resources. So they would request a block of IPv4 addresses, usually a small block, and an AS number to go with it to be fully independent. This was in the past. We do not give provider independent address blocks anymore since we have reached the /8. But as you can see, we have quite a large growth in membership, and each member, together with the /22, requests for an AS number as well. So the number of AS numbers issued is still quite large. We have about 180 AS numbers a month that we issue. I don't know, does this answer your question?
If you could go to the mic for our remote participants.
Yeah, I was just curious as to whether or not you had info as to separate apart from just the sharing the payments, but what would have driven them to, I guess, need that independence from the, and that's kind of what I was curious about.
Thank you.
What we could see in the region is that you would have many small organizations, many small ISPs as well. I think quite often also for economical reasons, stability reasons, people would, for example, in certain parts of the RIPE region, I think also Eastern Europe, people would prefer to choose maybe to be multi-homed as organization with their own address space and an AS number, maybe be multi-homed with connections which would cost less rather than an upstream provider that would provide more reliability but would be more expensive as well. So yeah, mostly I think economical reasons, political reasons, wanting to be independent.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you. Louis in the back.
Hi, Leslie. Louis
Hi.
Lee, Google Fiber, and also the chair of the ASO Address Council. This is a question about the 4-byte ASN. So some time ago, there was a concern that ARIN customers were returning their 4-byte AS assignments and getting 2-byte AS assignments. And ARIN was possibly running into the issue of having too many ASs to be able to request more ASNs from IANA. How are we doing with that? Do we still have customers doing a lot of returns like that?
So actually, we really had issues in the earlier days. Most people were coming back and trading their 4 bytes, saying that their ISPs would not accept, they couldn't route the ASNs. Richard implemented the default, issuing about 4 bytes by default last year, and I don't believe we're having very much of an issue, but he might want to address it.
We're finding that organizations that don't come in and specifically request a 2-byte AS number during the process that we provide a 4-byte AS number to are not coming back and asking for a 2-byte afterwards. Yep. It's very rare that they're doing it. Those organizations that truly do know that, yes, I specifically want a 2-byte are very vocal about it at the very beginning of the process. And we're accommodating those as they come in.
So will our inventory, does it feel like, I'm not going to commit you to any answer here, but does it feel like we will be able to ask for more address space, more AS blocks and still have some small amount of 2-byte for those that really need a 2-byte?
We submitted a request for additional AS numbers last year and got that satisfied. And in that, we received 95 from the classic 2-byte range, and all of the rest came from the regular 4-byte range. We do not expect any subsequent requests that we submit to the IANA for AS numbers will include any additional classic 2-byte range AS numbers for ARIN because they have run low on those. And we don't expect that we will go back and request more before the other IRs receive those. However, one of the most commonly returned resource to ARIN through either non-payment of fees or just a straight return is AS numbers. And it would seem that we're getting more back through returns or reclamations than are being specifically requested by people during the review process for AS numbers. So if we keep our current practice, we're likely many years away from running into an issue of not having classic 2-byte range AS numbers available for those who specifically request them.
Thank you. These are very useful answers for the community.
Thanks. And then I think there was a question here.
Kevin Bloomberg, The Wire. Leslie, if you could go to the V6 adoption slide near the end.
Which
That's
one? This one?
so you've
Allocations or assignments? Keep going.
keep going. So percentage of members
Okay.
is specifically ISPs, not end users,
Correct.
in all regions.
Correct.
And all regions differentiate between ISPs and end users exactly the same way.
Not exactly the same way, but this mostly consists of the ISPs in all 5 of the regions, yes.
Thank you. I was just, like I said, I was just trying to understand the accuracy.
Yeah.
And the second part to this was, I believe that in your last slide deck in Montreal, you differentiated V6 adoption rates by the size of networks in the ARIN region. Do we have similar data for the other regions in terms of adoption based on size of organization?
Oh, that was at a PPC.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but we can look at adding that to this presentation. That could be a good one, actually.
That'd be really useful.
Yeah,
information.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll look at that.
Jason Schiller, Google, ASOAC. Follow-up question from the previous topic. If we receive a lot of 2-byte ASNs back and the 2-byte ASN pool starts growing and growing and growing, and our default is to issue 4-byte, and people are more likely to take a 4-byte, will we eventually get into a situation where we have no 4-byte ASNs left, we have a pool of 2-byte ASNs, and we are unable to go back to IANA to get more space? And would we, in that case, then just start pulling by default from the 2-byte ASN until we're in compliance and then go back and get more 4-byte?
Present, we're not getting quantities of 2 bytes ASNs back in any large quantity. That lower range of the ASN space, we have an inventory and we're net negative each month. We're allocating 6 to 10 per month who parties specifically request such. So I don't expect it to be a problem. We have an inventory that looks like it would last 5 or so years, at which point I hope no one specifically wants to get a low range ASN number. Hopefully those few people requesting it now we won't be hearing from people of similar demand.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you.